Hi, uh, thank you all for joining my talk. I hope there are some people watching this. It is first time for me doing this kind of the conference. I hope it will be interesting experience, and I hope we will all learn something today. It's very strange to not feel the audience, to not see how many people is here, but yeah, I will give my best. So my name is Antonio Peric, Mazar, and I will talk today about pitfalls of Agile, how you can easily fail at being Agile. Let me first introduce myself. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Locastic. I also co-founded Lito, which is a totally different company in totally different industry. And we also started the Tino Meetup as a monthly community meetup in our hometown. And every month we bring some foreign speakers to our city, to our office, and they are giving lectures for free. And that's our way of giving back to the community. I started doing web and software development more than 10 years ago. And now I'm doing some consulting for the clients also, but I'm also managing a company and trying to help clients to build better products. Few words just about the company. We are doing a lot of custom software, mobile and web development. We are also doing a lot of user experience things. And we are working with small startups and large enterprise companies like banks and telecom operators. Today, I want to talk more about Agile, what Agile is and what Agile should be, and how we can be better in being Agile. So basically, if we do today ask some companies, are they are doing Agile, they will say probably yes. And when you ask them to explain that, they will say we have daily stand-ups in the morning, we are like Agile shop, or we have sprints, we have retrospectives. But to be honest, that doesn't mean that they are Agile company. That just means that they have some ceremonies, that they have some meetings, and usually that meetings ends up at just spending time worthless and not getting any progress with that. Agile is definitely a buzzword in the marketing world right now. So if you are not Agile or you are not saying that you are Agile, you may be seen as old school company, which is a huge issue, I will say. So let me just give you the context of my talk. So I will talk from our personal experience as a software development agency. We are not big company. We are around 20 employees company. What is the specific for any agency in the world is that we are running more different clients and more different projects at the same time. So that clients are at different locations in different time zones, maybe in different cultures and everything else. So I will talk today how I think, transform our company to be a real agile company. So we started as any other company. We started with defining the scope with the clients and then developing that and delivering that to them. That was at the beginning, that was really small projects like month or two or maybe some weeks. And it was really easy to handle projects in that way. It was easy to estimate. It was easy to build that kind of the projects. But after a while, we have fallen. We fallen hard. We got bigger projects, we got bigger clients. That waterfall principle didn't work for us. To be honest, I think every single company, agency, and product companies were in similar position when they start growing, because you need to change the way how you are building software, how you are handling the things. And I think we had similar issues. So what we did, we decide, let's go agile, because agile was like the keyword at that point. So the first thing when you decide to go agile, you actually start looking what other people are saying, start looking at the conferences, start reading blog posts. Most time you will just Google around that and see what you can implement. Of course, if you start Googling, you will find a lot of things about Agile, how to implement Agile, how to implement sprints, Kanbans, is Scrum, is Agile right for us? What is Scrum, extreme programming, and other things? You will find a bunch of informations that will not give you the clear guideline what you need to do. And after a while, you will probably end up with a Scrum. Why? Because Scrum is a framework and it gives you clear guidance what you should do. You just need to follow the framework and everything will be okay, right? So we started using the Scrum. We started doing everything by the book. And after a while, we had some progress. Well, we had fun, it was okay, but still results were better, but still not as we expected. We expected more. So we start doing like retrospectives, not just in a way of retrospective in the Scrum part, but retrospective of what we are actually doing wrong, because we had that feeling that we can deliver more. And we incur the first problem, actually, that we focus too much on the framework. Let's talk a little bit from the developer's perspective. If you are using any framework like .NET Core or Symfony or Node.js, whatever, and if you are starting a new project, and if you are an experienced developer, you will probably adjust that framework to your project, not to adjust projects to your framework, because we all know that is wrong. So I think it's a fundamentally wrong to actually try to adjust entire company to fit the framework of a Scrum or any other product or any other framework in Agile. So we had retrospectives, we had daily stand-ups, we have the everything that's needed by Scrum, but still, like we had that feeling that we can do more. So let's be clear. Scrum is an amazing option when you have a team that is building product in-house, that knows everything about your product, and that have a clear focus on the features they need to deliver. Then Scrum works smoothly. That's 100% sure. But if you are a company which has a customer that you are working for, then you have external dependency. And then things are changed. Now you have someone who is not part of your team, who is not in-house, who you need to communicate on a daily basis, hourly basis, and you need to put them inside your process. It's not very easy to say like, okay, you will be the product owner, you will work every day with us, and we will solve the problem by the book. Usually in a practice, that's not how things works. So what we need to be clear from the beginning, and for all new people that are starting Agile, Agile is not Scrum. Agile is something much bigger. Agile is not just single framework, Scrum or any other. Scrum is a framework which defines the specific rules and roles and working process to develop software. But the Agile is much bigger thing. Agile is actually a way of thinking, the culture of your company that encapsulates much more than purely just some framework. Scrum is only one possible way to reach the Agile principles, but you can reach them even without the Scrum or any other framework. You just need to have that Agile mindset. So if you are doing Scrum or any framework, that doesn't mean that you have Agile mindset. And without Agile mindset, I would say you cannot say that you are Agile company. So let's go back to the beginning. Like this picture describes that very well. Like the starting point for being fully Agile company is to have Agile mindset. When I say Agile mindset, it's not like some selling point and then like some coaching things or whatever. It's just you need to be prepared that the entire company will need to be Agile, not just development process or production team. So we need to start with the Agile mindset, upgrade it with the 4 values of the Agile, define it by 12 principles, and then we can use any methodology, any framework we want. We can even define our own framework, call it in any name we want, and use that if that delivers value to our customers. So let's start from the beginning. If we want to do Agile, we cannot sell the product in a way that we cannot sell our services in a way that we were selling before when we did a waterfall. So that way, how we are selling, how we are communicating with the client needs to be changed. This was also one of our mistakes. We decided to go in a full Scrum development, but we still had fixed contracts with our clients defining our services in waterfall way. But if you divide waterfall in small sprints, that doesn't mean that you are doing Agile or that you are doing Scrum. Actually, you are still doing the waterfall, but still divided on a smaller parts of that. In the end, the result is the same. Usually you will fail. Second thing we need to discuss about ideal project. Ideal project in ideal world will be like no budget or unlimited budget, no deadlines, flexible scope, and we will get paid by time that we spend. That ideal project doesn't exist. Usually we have 4 types of the projects defined by the clients. The first is a flexible budget plus project idea. Second is fixed budget plus project idea. A third one is flexible budget plus project specification, some kind of wireframes, prototypes, or any documented specification. And last one is fixed budget plus project specification with, again, documentation, wireframes, or prototypes. The second one is the danger one. You need to avoid that one if you want to work in agile way. Why? Because in this situation, you have the client which has some kind of idea, has some amount of money. Actually, they don't have uh, any idea what they want to build. They have some, just some maybe scratch of idea, and they want to do that with the fixed budget, which is probably too low to deliver entire idea for them. Also, if you have defined scope, defined deadline, and defined price at the beginning, there is no space to do that in agile way. Why? We know that every project will will need to accept some changes during development process. We will not see some feature. Some feature will be more prioritized, or some feature will be more complex. But if everything is fixed, then is no chance that you will be agile, because meaning of the agile is that you can change at any point. You can change anything that you want. And if we have fixed things, that means that we cannot do any kind of the agile, not including Scrum or any other framework. So we transferred all of our things to time and materials model. So what that means? That means, you all know that probably that we are billing the hours that we spend, and we are getting paid for the amount of work that we deliver to the client. But what's the problem with material and times and materials model? First, it requires huge level of trust. So you need to build the trust with your customers, and they need to trust you, like that you will not cheat them, which should be a normal thing, that you only charge what you deliver. But also that is very easy to do when you did the first project with the client, when they have fully trust in you and your services, then it's much easier to continue delivering services in that way. You need to understand that we are building software every day. That's our regular work. For most of our clients, building the software is abstract thing. They are not understanding the process of building the software. In the same way, if we are working for some new industry that we didn't work before. For example, if you are working with the pharmacy industry, you maybe don't know anything about their business. So they are like knowledge database about their business, and you need to learn from them about their business. And still you need to educate them. They need to learn from you about software development. So empathy and understanding, and especially patience on the both side, is very also important in this time and materials model. Also, sometimes you will need to invest some more time that you will not be able to bill to your clients, just to educate them, to get them on the same level as you when we are talking about software development. Uh, Clients still want estimates. That's true. Like, even any of us, if we go to the store, we want to know how much things will cost. You cannot go, for example, to buy a new BW. You cannot go to the store and ask like the salesperson in a BMW shop and ask him like, I want to buy a new car, and he will say to you like, okay, I don't know how much it will cost. Or you cannot say to your client like, we will need, I don't know how many months, I don't know how many budget, but we will deliver something at some point. That will not work. They want to get some value for the money, and you need to focus to bring some value for them, for the money, for the budget they have. So what is very good advice, especially in the agile way, is to involve the project team that will work on the project from the 0 point, from the beginning, like from the first meeting with the client when you decided to work together, or even when you are still talking about possibility to work together, is to sit with the team in a room, if it is possible today, remotely, via call or anything else. Why? First thing is that you have smart people in your team which will ask smart questions. They will get better insight in a client's idea, and they will be better to give the estimate about worst case or best case budget for that project. Also, the client will will be more confident with your team, and when they saw they are like software experts, and that they are asking really good questions and everything about projects, that they are showing the interest and that they are learning about their business. So you need to start using the team from the beginning. And when I say team, the team should be independent unit on the project. We will talk about that a little bit later. So how we do that? We do the principle of building we call that clickable prototype. So basically what we are doing, usually if the client, and in most cases clients don't have like really proper good specification, we do that for them in a way of building user experience and user interfaces first. The result of this phase is to have clickable prototypes. So client will get the idea what is the product that we are working on together. We will get idea what the client is expecting from us to be built. So in that way, the clients can go around, click, we can see what is happening, what is the business logic behind, and everything starts to be much more clear. We also write a blog post about this. Our lead project manager, Danilo, wrote the entire process, how we are doing this, what are the type of the projects, so you can read more about that. But I want to show you and the result when after we have the specification, after we have the wireframe, we got something like this. This is the Google Sheet or Microsoft Excel or whatever you want to use, with a list of all features, and each feature is separately budgeted, like in number of the hours. When we multiple number of the hours with some hourly rates, we got the budget for each feature. And this is exactly the point where the clients are starting to understand what is the software development, how much does it cost, and how much time it takes to build something. And based on this, with the client, you can define proper MVP product, a proper MVP, and usually the clients will just drop of some features that are requiring too much investment and not bringing so much value for the product. In this point, they will understand like how they can change priorities, what they can do to deliver better values to the customers together with your team. So this is very nice thing, and usually it ends up to the definition of real MVP that has value for the customers, and it will be delivered in some amount of time. Still, this is not fixed budget. It's from the best case, from the worst case to the best case, and usually it ends up in the middle. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So we need to, as I already told you, we need to talk more with the clients. We need to educate them. We need to move them from the comfort zone and put them in a zone of software development software. Also, we need to do that on the other side. So we need to put ourselves on the comfort zone and learn about their business. If we have some blind spots between, that will not work. We need to add more values on the both side. Especially we as software developers, as software development companies, we need to put more values for the clients. Usually from the agency perspective, we will not have, like, I will talk later about product owner, but you will not have like real proper owner by as defined in the Scrum. On the client side, you will have something mixed, but let's talk about a little bit about later. And also this sorry, customer collaboration will it, it is aiming to save a bunch of time in paperwork, in contract negotiation, in changing the scopes, changing the budgets and everything else. It is much easier to work in this way, and it's much easier to deliver more values to the clients. Of course, it's not so easy to explain to the client that after he requested something that we cannot give exact estimate or something like that, or for the legacy project is really hard to estimate how much time it will take to fix something and to get code base under the control or infrastructure or whatever. So they also need to be aware of that. Also, we need to have in mind that nobody cares about the contracts if things goes well. Usually when we start to put in contracts out is when the things are messed, and we all want to avoid that situation. Also, you need to move yourself from the role of service provider, and you need to be part of the team with your client. You need to put, as I already told you, you need to put a lot of understanding and empathy for your client, and you need to really focus on delivering the value for the customers. When I say for the customers, I'm not actually thinking on the stakeholders, but I'm thinking about their customers. If we are on the same page with the stakeholders and we are delivering value to end customers, that's amazing result because they will pay more money to the stakeholders. Stakeholders will invest more in development process, and we will all be happy because business will be up and running. So that's the actually goal number one of the agile principles, is to deliver value to the users, to the customers, not to the stakeholders. But of course, most of the company today is only focusing what the stakeholders thinks, and you can really end up in situation where your stakeholders is request like zero value feature to be delivered first, but then for you spend like, I don't know, $20,000 building that, and then there is zero value for your customers, and that's obviously the fail. So you should try to focus with your client, with educating them, discussing with them, to focus on bringing value to the customers, to the users. Also, I mentioned already product owner role, and I really think it's a Superman role for two reasons. If we have really good product owner, that's amazing person with really good skill set, but usually that role doesn't exist. Usually, if we are talking about, again, if we are talking mostly about agency work, usually we end up with some mixed project manager role. And you all know that in Scrum, we don't have project manager role. But I honestly think that in this type of the work, not having the project manager role can be a huge issue, because we need to have someone that client can communicate with, and someone who has like uh, power to make some decisions if things goes very bad. Like we can, if it will, sometimes it will happen that things will go bad, and then like there is no help if the scrum master will just say, but we are cool, super agile team, we do everything by the scrum, let's love each other. That is not solution of the problem in some really tough situation. So we need to have some person that will adjust that. Usually that project manager role is also the product owner consulting role, I will say, because that role is discussing a lot with the clients, helping them prioritize features and to focus on delivering the values. If you have luck to have product owner on the client's team, that's amazing situation. But usually product owner should be a person who understands software development, who is on the client side, but also respect the teams and know how to estimate the things with the team. And usually you have clients that are not from the software development industry. They don't have product owners in their team. They have decision makers in their team. So you need to find some solution for that and build that role, let's say, together in some compromise. Maybe partially you will do that inside your team, partially inside the client's team. But when you connect that together, you should have some source of providing the priorities, but also respecting everything inside the team, and of course delivering the values to the customers. Implement one measure at a time. If you start changing everything inside your company, you will probably end up with failing on all levels. So try to do small changes. For example, if you are doing Scrum by the book at the moment, try to change something that is not by the book. Try to maybe reduce the sprint. Try to release every day, not every 2 weeks or every week. Try to change something and see what is happening. If that goes well, like continue doing that. Talk more with the team, talk more with your people, and see what is happening. If you fail, it's very easy to undo things. Just undo that and start trying and trying again. So yeah, start implementing one by one and then measure that, what is happening. So for example, when we started with the Scrum, our team was not like, that was 6 years ago, I think. Our team was not like, wasn't very happy about it. Like we will have too much meetings, we will have everything, but we measured everything, and after a few months, we got like increase in productivity, increase in revenue and profit in everything. So we say, okay, this is good. We want more, obviously, but this is a good start point. So we will continue doing that. And we presented that to the team, and that helped us a lot. Our team understand what we are aiming for, what we want to reach, and they were on the same page. individuals and interactions over process and tools. This is very, very important thing. It's the second value of the Agile, but usually we end up focusing on a Scrum, focusing on Jira or some other tools, and we forgot about the most valuable thing. And most valuable thing in any software development process are the humans. Are the humans who are developing the product, who are delivering product, who are delivering values to the customers, and we need to focus on them. We need to give them ability to do the best, to use the best practices they can, and just stop and not focus too much on the processes and the tools. If you have smart and capable people in your team, they will end up with a process that works very well. Just you don't need to control them. You don't need to put them in a box of any framework. You need to give them more freedom to act in a way they think it's the best for the product and the team. Working software over compressed documentation. This is literally focusing on delivering the things. Deliver often, stop writing pages and pages of documentation if you are still doing that. I will suggest you to try with the wireframes and the prototypes, because we are all like visual people. We are all visual persons. So when we see something, it's much easier to build that. If we don't see that, and if we have just description, how to build something that's much harder for us. Even that those some developers will say they are not visual persons, but we are all. So what we did here, especially because we have clients in different time zones, and especially today, like we are all working remote, we have this conference remote, we define something as anatomy of the task. We define how the task should be written, and they need to be clear for everyone. They need to be clear which value they are adding, what is the acceptance criteria, and they need to be linked with wireframe so that you can actually see what you are building, and you have entire description about the ticket that you are working on. This is how it looks like. So basically, as you can see, it's very detailed. It has link in the end. It has really detailed acceptance criteria, and that this actually saves a bunch of time in communicating with. As for example, if you have ticket written like this, you will not have like 1 day delay for questions in different time zones. You will actually have all the information here. If you have some information missing, you will need to ask someone, and then tomorrow when they are start working, they will answer on that. So this kind of the work can save, and for us it's saving a bunch of time already. Also for clients, it's much easier to understand, and they can control this. They can write the tickets with us. They can do anything that we want. Responding to change over following the plan. So basically, when I'm talking with someone who is leading team or doing the work in a team, the questions usually I ask is how your team is responding to the change of the request. If your team is stressed out about changes, then you are not agile company, because the agile is all about changes. It's all about adjusting. It's all about fixing issues, making process better. So for example, doing this conference online today, it's very agile principle, because they could easily say, okay, we will not do this conference today, this year because of the COVID-19, but we will do it next year, and unfortunately it's a bad luck for us. But what the organizers did, they are very agile, so they adjusted to the situation, and they organized everything to put this conference online. End up result is amazing. We still have a conference. Okay, the bad thing is that we are not meeting each other, so we don't have proper chance for networking, but still we are delivering values to each other, and the ultimate outcome is here, delivering the values, knowledge to other people through the infrastructure that we have over the internet, video calls and other. But this was very agile move. So there was a change, and organizers respond to that in a positive way. So that's also what we need to be aware in agile world, from the sales to developing, testing and everything, that things can be changed in a second, in a moment, and we need to be prepared about that. Okay, also the love of the customers. I also spoke a little bit about this, but we need to have obsession to delivering value to the customers. I will repeat, to the customers, to the users, not to the stakeholders. And we all need to be on this end in entire organization. When I say organization, it is development team plus stakeholders. So there should be their obsession with delivering values to the customers. Also, we need to have smaller teams if we want to be agile. We need to work in shorter cycles and we need to focus again to delivering the values. But if we have like a team of 25 people, it's very hard to adjust to everything and to be agile. So usually we need to split that team to the smaller teams, like 5 to 6 persons, and then it's much easier to adjust. Also, all of that teams should be available, uh, should not be forbidden to communicate and operate on a network of the teams, like in a horizontal level. But if you are implementing like bureaucracy model of top-down hierarchy, we are not again agile team. For example, if you have team that want to change something in their process and they need to ask management, like, is it okay to not have uh, sprint planning every week? We want to have it every 3 weeks, or it is okay to not have daily stand-ups because we don't need them. We are communicating like every second. And if they need to ask the management for that decision, then you are again not agile company. You are bureaucracy company that works for some company, obviously, but not that is not agile. So teams should be independent, available to communicate in any way they want, also to share the knowledge between others. And this is the best advice that I have for anyone that is running company, leading teams, or anything. Like, start being a heroic command giver and start being a humble gardener. What this means? This means that you hired already a smart people. They know how to build a software, or they are still learning, but they will learn how to build software. They can deliver software in proper way. They have they want to deliver software in a proper way, and you are all the time you are trying to give commands to them and order them how to do that. You will not achieve anything with that, and usually the result will be total opposite. If you start caring about them, give them more space, more choices to be made, and if they feel that, they will probably produce much better software than you ever imagined. So you need to be that humble gardener, take care of your people, and to have fully trust in them that they will do amazing job, they will deliver really good software, and they will add values for the customers. So how we see the agile today? First, people and the projects are the most important thing, and they are much more important than any kind of the methodology. Also, the agile should be a Scrum. Okay, sorry. The agile is much bigger, as I already told you, than a Scrum or any other framework. It's a philosophy. It's not a process, and it's probably agile. It's probably the best way to handling chaotic systems at the moment. Like, if you have chaotic system and if you have many things, it's easily to prioritize things, solve one by one. It's easily to change prioritized order and deliver whatever needs for your customers. But in theory, it's very easy, but it's really hard to master. So that, especially if you are working with the clients, so it's not something that you will just start doing today and you will be good in that. It requires a lot of time, a lot of things to be properly set up, and then it will give some results. Also, agile is way of thinking, and it should be integrated in each part of the team and company. It should be a way of thinking, a way of how we are selling things, how we are building the software in a way of coding or infrastructure when we are talking about DevOps, a way of signing contracts, a way of doing business. So everything in your company should be agile if you want to be a proper agile company. If, as I said at the beginning of the talk, if you are selling in a waterfall way, and you think that you are doing agile, you are fooling yourself. So advantages for, sorry, advantages for clients and a team is that agile is really good for organization and task management. You will be able to deliver new features constantly, and clients can have feeling every day that you are delivering more and more and more and more. Especially when you achieve that level that you can ship like even small bug fixes or features on daily basis, you will make your clients very happy. And if everything is set up well, what is very important thing, especially in the agency world, is that you can rotate your team members very easily. So especially if you have like long-term projects and some of your developers wants to change something because he or she's work, or they are working like 3 years on the same project, they want some new products to work on, you can easily change that. Also, clients are finally the part of the development process, and software development is no longer something strange for them. There is no piles or users documentation, and both team and the clients are more focused on delivering high quality products with the values for the customers. As you can see, I really think and I really believe that delivering values to the customers, the users, is the most important thing of the software. If we can solve their problems, if we can help them live better or in any way help them, we will have really good product and we will have really happy stakeholders. What is disadvantages, because it's not all pink, is that it's really hard to get clients on the location for the full time. So basically you will have clients who are usually most involved at the beginning of the projects, but then later they will start doing their daily business. So it's really hard to catch them all the time, especially if you are in different time zones. That's something also that we need to adjust. It's not impossible. It's very easy. We can see today it's very easy to do work across multiple time zones, but you need also to adjust yourself on that. Product owner role is very hard, and usually clients don't have a person that is ready to take that owner. So you need to have some kind of hybrid solution for these situations. And usually clients want to know prices and the deadlines. That's something which is, I will say, the hardest thing in software development business, is to give exact estimate and the price to the clients for any project. Also, some clients don't get the concepts of the agile. That's very abstract to them because they are stick to the traditional process. We are not all in software development, so we need also to be aware of that. If the team and clients are not at the same location, I already mentioned that it can be slower a little bit. And this is not for inexperienced teams. If you put like 5 juniors, for example, in a team to try build something in this way, they will fail for sure. Even if you put like 1 senior and 4 juniors, or 2 seniors and 3 juniors, they will have a huge chance of failing. So be aware that these process things are for someone who is already good in software development, and this is mostly the level up of how we provide our services to the clients. It's definitely not for an inexperienced teams. Agile is not just a Scrum. Agile, as I already mentioned before, is basically everything. It's lean development, it's extreme programming, pair programming, BDD, TDD, DDD, CI, CD, automation of the process, testing, deploying, everything. So basically, there is a bunch of synonyms for the Agile. There is a bunch of best practices in the Agile, and you need to find what works best for you. For example, I can see today that a lot of people are doing Agile and then they are not writing the tests because they said the tests are taking too much time for them and they need to deliver the sprint. That's fundamentally wrong, because first things, tests will save the time in the future, bunch of time. Tests are forcing you to provide quality software, and that's also one of the goals of the Agile. And like focusing and being constantly under pressure of delivering the sprints is totally wrong word. It's totally wrong concept. I will also say that sprint as a word is totally wrong. It's totally like, it should be something else, because we don't want to sprint. We want to do products on a long term, more like a marathon, not sprinting. Where we are going inside our company, where we are going with Agile today. So basically, at the beginning, we got this Agile and Scrum as technique of project management. It was entire focus on Scrum in roles in a team, organization of the meetings and ceremonies, putting the Agile boards and everything else. But as I told you, we need to be Agile in entire process. We need to be Agile across entire company. So today, actually, for our clients, for our software development process, we are mostly doing some kind of the Kanban. Why Kanban? Because it controls the work progress on a daily basis. It's not defined with 1 week or 2 week or any time period sprints. It's actually focusing on delivering and delivering quality and value to the customers, and to be able to switch from the task to task, actually to be able to change quickly. And that's the reason why we think this is more agile way of doing comparing to Scrum. So basically, this also wouldn't be possible without try and error to try real fix for your team. So our board looks like this. So you see, as you can see, we have a board, we have a column for analyzing things, then ready for design, ready for development, back and front end testing, and then in the end, if it is ready for release. But any ticket here can be like put in the progress or removed from the progress on a daily basis, depends on the priorities. So what's also very, very important is to be agile with the agile. Usually we forgot about that. So if you are trying to change something in your company and you see that doesn't work, just undo that, try some other things. Try to implement different methods. Try to be more, this is the perfect time for testing that. Actually, with this situation, we all need to be agile. We all need to adjust our businesses to continue working to survive in this time of the potential huge crisis in global economy. So yeah, this is the exact situation which can explain what I'm trying to say, is that like you need to be able to change quickly, and that's real agile. Also for us, what was the results? The results was that we are delivering more to the clients. We actually reduced bunch of the bugs. We are delivering better and more quality software by the metrics per teams. Design process were drastically improved. It's not just about coding, it's also about user experience and design things. The morale of the team increased, and we have more happy clients. Also, what is the talk without one rent slide? So this is the rent slide. Actually, it's not rent slide, it's a realistic slide. This was 10 years ago, the rent of Luke Halliwell. So basically he said, like, I'm sick of it. I can't wait for the day when everyone will realize how much of fad diet, religious, cult-inspired, money-making exercise it is for a group of consults. I can't wait for people to wake up the fact that the only good parts of Agile are just basic common sense and don't need manifesto or evangelist to support them. Basically, it's still today. We are spending too much money on listening the same things, and delivering the software is like real common sense. Focus on the value, deliver like on constant basis, smaller feature, and do it in small iterations, and empower your teams and people. Also, there is no one size to fits all approach. So basically, even if you have same team working on different projects through the years, they will probably need to adjust something in their process. And without agile mindset, agile remains only inert, lifeless set of the ceremonies, which is just wasting of our time worthlessly day by day. Thank you. I will check the Slido if there are some questions, and I will be happy to answer you. Let me just check it. Okay. Okay, so there is a question. One project, multiple teams, web, iOS, Android, each 2 to 3 devs. Some tasks are intersect. Is it better to Agile Scrum as one big team or separate the collab teams? I have situation to work in both ways. Usually I will say it depends, but I really think it should be separated. It will be much easier to manage all the teams, and it will be much easier to control the company. And maybe sometimes it will happen that some tasks will be intersected, but usually maybe it will happen that you will have different priorities, for example, for mobile applications and then for the web application. Maybe just separating web and mobile will also be improvement, but also depends on the team, what is easier for them. So what I will suggest, maybe to separate them, try how it goes. They need to be able to freely communicate between the teams. That should be allowed and of course encouraged. And then if that works well,
that should be continued, and later, especially if you need to add more people to Android or iOS or web team, it's much easier to add one person to 3-person team than to add one person to 50-person team. And thank you for the question. I don't see any more questions. I think we have a few more minutes of time. I will wait. Okay. So thank you and goodbye. It was a nice experience for me. I hope that you also enjoyed, and thanks organizers for making this possible and to provide us with online conference experience. Hope to see you next year in Lithuania, we say in Croatian, and to meet you in a person. Thank you. Bye.